Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Crescendo Way podcast. It is Monday, the 26th of January, and we've got a great show lined up for you. To have a great show, you need a great panel. And so please join me in welcoming some esteemed guests. We've got Jamie, we've got Tim, we've got Mark, and we've got Mucky. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. We've got a lot to cover. We've got Radcliffe, we've got South Shields, we've got looks ahead to Chester and Tamworth. Starting off then with what was an absolutely brilliant 3-0 win. Goals, head loss, red cards, drama. It had the lot. Starting with you, Tim. What did you make of the win over Radcliffe?
It's a great 3 points because they've been flying. They've had two poor results now, but they were flying. I think, and I said this on Twitter, and I live Berry Way, so I keep a fairly close eye on Radcliffe. I have some mates who go and watch them. I thought we played brilliantly, but I didn't think we played any better than, for example, we did at Chorley. I understood what Jono was talking about when he did his interviews about the referee. The referee was poor. I'm always at pains. He's not a bad fella, is he? I don't mean him, any sort of harm. He was just not at the level. He made repeated poor decisions, and we've probably had a little bit of the rub of the green. I've watched the videos back. I don't see clear fouls around our goals. I do see things that could have been given, so I understand why they would be unhappy. But we've had loads of poor luck with decisions like that going the other team's way all season. So maybe we were just due. But Johnny on the spot, we have put bodies in the box, fielding, Jolly playing off the right, albeit I don't know how injured he is going forward now, but that tapping at the back post, that's what he should be doing on that right hand side. He's not a flying winger, is he? Albeit he's got good quality. You want him to get in at the back post from stuff that Finn puts in from the other side. It's exactly what he did. Wardle gets a great header. Just top 3 points. If someone had offered me a point from Radcliffe and a point from South Shields, I'd have taken it, and we've ended up a point ahead of that. So no, I was really happy.
Fantastic. Looking towards you there, Mark. It was a fantastic win, as Tim's pointed out. Tim and John had a really good exchange on Twitter. Not telling people to snoop, but if you go and have a look at the conversation that Tim and John had, it's a really interesting conversation. I felt we were quite respectful as well on Crescendo Way, how we approached it. We have a great relationship with John and how we talk to him. And I think John pointed out rightly that while we were being respectful as Tim pointed out there, we didn't see any fouls in the box with the video in hindsight. But Jono's perspective is on the halfway line, down along those sidelines. He's seen a different perspective, and he's probably only seen it once as it's happened in real time. So, if I could look at you, Mark, I'd like to sort of get your feeling around the goals as well. Were them goals always coming, do you think, in the second half, or did it take the red cards to really start the process then of Marine getting more comfortable into the game?
I think the second half performance in whole led to sort of Radcliffe losing. They weren't expecting it, I don't think. I thoroughly enjoyed the game. It's probably one of the best games I've seen in a long while. It was a typical, what I call old style, sort of non-league game. It did have a little bit of everything. Um, and, you know, Jono, I think I put a thing on Twitter, he's a real, I really admire him, to be honest, because in nothing else, he's honest, and he did say about appraising the game, and he did make numerous comments to the effect that he would look at his own sort of conduct. We've had it a few times, haven't we, the last couple of seasons with our managers. I remember Youngie being sent off after the game for not leaving the pitch before the referee. I think Bobby's had his moments already this season. I don't mind that. I don't mind that, to be honest with you, because it shows that they care. It shows that they're fully in the moments, and unless it's something really, really bad. But he just lost his cool, didn't he? And again, I think I put out on Twitter, there was an awful lot of people commenting on the sending off, and I bet 9 out of every 10 people who were commenting didn't see it because they were following the ball in the lead up to the goal. So, people were having opinions, comments, and whatever, and I bet most of them didn't actually see it clearly. Um,
It's funny you say that, Mark. Sorry, because we that's something we've touched on as well. There's a number of cameras in the ground. Admittedly, it's not like the Premier League, but there are phones. Marine have a camera. Radcliffe will have a camera as well to record their own performances, and absolutely nobody that we're aware of has seen or can provide any documentary evidence to show about this red card that has occurred. Um, Sorry to interrupt you there with that, Mark. I just wanted to point that out as well.
the only thing I just quickly mention on that one is, John was alluding to somebody breaking down the back of Maynard's car. Now, the reaction of Maynard whilst he was upset at getting sent off, forgive me if I've not seen something somebody else has seen, but he didn't actually go after particularly one person. Now, I know from playing football, if somebody had raked down the back of my car and I got sent off, I'd be going for them. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be leaving the field quietly without having the words with them or two or three.
Yeah.
So that was a bit odd, I thought.
With that, Mark, I think I am fairly reliably informed by someone who did see bits of it from down the Jubilee side. There's a bit of a tussle between Maynard and I think it's James Brown, and they have a bit of a tussle. I think Brown was probably kicked out at him. I don't know about raking his studs down his back of his Achilles or anything like that, but he's had a kick. He's had a kick out. Maynard's reacted to that, grabbed him. Other players then get involved. I don't think the referee has seen it. I think the referee has had a guess at what's gone on. If you listen to some of the interviews, and particularly Jono's interview, and if you don't listen to it, I do Jordan Hume's podcast, and we get some stick for it, but it's a really good listen. He talks about it in his podcast this week, where the referee books Wardle and he books Fraser Barnsley, and allegedly tells Wardle, "Look, I need to book one of your players. You're the captain, and you're having a yellow card." And I think that's a window on just how much the referee had sort of lost the plot around all that, really. So I do understand their frustration, but ultimately, if the fourth official has seen Maynard grab somebody, then that's how it ends up. But that is what I'm told is pretty much the tale.
Is that not worse then, Tim, if the referee's purely going on a guess? Because, I mean, you'd be more lenient to the referee going, I've not seen it because I'm watching the breakaway.
Yeah.
So if they've been I'm going, I'm going to have to guess here, I'm going to have to book someone to save face. Is that not questioning the referee's integrity then?
Well, I don't think I'm not questioning his integrity, and I don't know. I'm now telling you what I've been told by someone who did see it. So that's what I'm told has happened. I think with the referee, you've got someone who's turned up to be a fourth official and mentally perhaps isn't prepared to referee a game of that physicality and that pace in front of a big crowd. And just, I don't know what level he's refereed at, but it just, for both teams all the way through. I mean, Zanzala got ragged everywhere all game. He got smashed into the fence at one point and he gave a free kick against him. So I don't think it's his integrity. I think he just had a bit of a sort of brain fade. He couldn't deal with what was going on. I don't know whether his assistants or I think it's the referee's assessor who's become the fourth, how much they've helped him out. But the red card, Brad Roscoe got booked for them for what I thought was the best tackle of the night. I thought there were just some really odd decisions for both teams. So for me, it's not about integrity. It's just a referee who's had a really poor night. In the same way that sometimes players have really poor nights, that referee had a really, really poor night.
Just going back to you, Mark, so I just wanted to finish off where you were up to. I mean, did you, because this was something I was going to raise as well, is the tackle that got the yellow card on. Did you see that take place as well, Mark? And what were your thoughts on it?
I think Tim's just summed it all up perfectly. I guess the guy who ended up taking over from the referee, as Tim rightly says, was come to be the fourth official, and I just think he just wasn't up to the game. I thought that, again, similar to what Tim's just said, that there was numerous challenges from both sides that were either given as fouls or weren't given as fouls that actually were. It got to it was a bit of a free for all at one point. And I don't think that the players were really quite sure what was constituting a foul in the referee's mind and what wasn't. You know, it's a cliche, isn't it? What goes for you goes against you, during the course of the season. And we'll take it. Listen, we'll take anything that we seemingly got on the night. But, let's not detract from the overall performance, which was absolutely top draw.
Muggy, you've touched on it a couple of times, and you've spoken to Jono in the past as well about how similar Marine and Radcliffe have been on in terms of the journey together. And you touched on how that adds to the occasion as well and makes it quite a fiery encounter. Um, I wanted to ask you, is given the fact that Marine lost 4-0 away at Radcliffe and then win 3-0 at home, does that go further to sort of strengthen your argument that you make about the two teams being very similar, and that's what creates this really intense game of football between the two?
Yeah, I think so. I think you look at the journeys both clubs have had. They've been obviously got promoted together. They've obviously had last season where both teams struggled and then got their act together. And then obviously this season, I have an interesting thing about the referee. I think he was poor, but I think once the referee who was meant to be refereeing gets injured and that fourth official comes in, I think especially the first 20 minutes or so, I feel Radcliffe played really on him. And, they were going down off challenges. Listen, he had a poor game, but I don't think he was out at the start, you know what I mean, putting all that pressure. So I think that's how the game ended the way it was, because, a lot of like, they were doing a lot of chair pulling, which is quite ironic when, like I said, I like John, he's honest, he's a football man, but like, they they did a lot of chair pulling, so I don't think the referee was out. But yeah, I think both teams are very, very similar. I think the game itself, that was a game where you have to fight before you can play. They put it on you, you've got to match it. And then once, you kind of, which I thought we did win that battle, we stood up to it. And then once we started playing, they couldn't handle it. And that's why they lost the Reds in the end, because, they couldn't beat us the way they wanted us to beat us like they did in September. And once they realised that they couldn't basically bully us, really, they kind of lost the Reds, isn't it? And then when you look at the goals, they were brilliant, weren't they, kind of thing. But as I said, I think both teams are very similar to what they do. I think both managers are very similar, aren't they? They're very passionate people. I think Annie Johnson and Morley, if they were managers of Marine, you'd love them, wouldn't you? Because, they're very similar to Bobby Gant. I think, like, obviously, when I did listen to his interview, I've listened to it twice, actually. I do like him. I do really like him. He's a good manager, but I'm not. No, the one he was winning, not the first goal, that's never a foul, do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. And if that went for them, he'd never ever say anything about it, do you know what I mean? So, no, I don't think, as I said, I don't think what he was saying, and I said that on Twitter, but respectfully to him. But I thought we were worthy winners, and I think it was a brilliant performance after the Buxton game, and all you can ask for is that response, isn't it? So, obviously, delighted to win.
Everyone was raving about the goals, Mucky, and you're the one person I've seen up to now who's actually praised the cross into the box for the third goal for Wardle's. I believe was it Lee Whelan who put the ball in the box, and you rightly praising it.
Yeah, because it was obviously a floated cross, and to be able to, it was just absolutely perfect, because to beat the goalkeeper as well, and just all Ward had to do was obviously attack it, and he scores. It was just still, but he's got that quality, hasn't he? We even seen that last season. I think there was one Warrington that went right through, so he's always had that quality. I was a bit surprised he wasn't on the free kick to start the season, because he is really good at them, isn't he? But yeah, he's got great delivery, hasn't he? And it's great header, and it was quite ironic that Wardle scored the win. Well, not the winner, sorry, the third goal, because I think that would have felt good, really, for him.
Well, speaking of Wardle, that's where we're going to go on to next. Josh Wardle, 150 appearances now for Marine, and it just had to be him. It'd be remiss not to be touching on the fantastic achievements that Josh Wardle has had with Marine. I just want to ask you, Jamie, where do you think Josh Wardle goes down in Marine folklore?
Yeah, I mean, Tuesday. I know we're moving on, but I just want to say I thought Tuesday night was one of my favourite Tuesday nights I've had at Marine in a long, long time. I thought it was fantastic. If you'd have told me as well at half time, I thought it was such a weird game, wasn't it, with that big break for the referee going off. And I thought the actual quality of the football on Tuesday in the first half was really poor. It was a really poor game. If you'd have told me we'd have won that game 3-0 at half time, I wouldn't have believed you. But what was fantastic was that was a scrap, wasn't it? That was a scrap. And we came out on top. We scrapped for everything in that game. That was a a nasty game. And we came out on top. It was like watching two boxes, really, just slugging it out. Two drunk boxes, maybe in a bar. It was absolutely fantastic. But I loved it, and I thought the crowd was brilliant. I thought the crowd really roared the team on in the second half, and they got the
Yeah,
performance.
well done, everyone in attendance, for getting yourselves on the Crosby bubble, for
Well,
upsetting the locals.
the Tuesday night, I thought the second half, the crowd behind the goal was brilliant, and they kind of sucked the ball in. But yeah, just a great night, wasn't it? But yeah, going back to Wardle, I mean, I think it's fantastic. Not many, I mean, not many players stick around now, do they, for 150 games at any non-league club? We're so used to that churn, that turnover of players, and you know your 7-day approaches or whatever it is, and people moving on. And but yeah, to play 150 games is fantastic, and he's been with us now, been a major part of the journey, hasn't he, over the last few years? I think we've been really blessed over the last kind of 5 years or so with some really good centre backs, and he's some really good defenders and leaders. He's right up there with them. And I thought his header like epitomised that, actually. The third goal, when the ball comes in and it's in his area, there's no stopping, is there? He's such a threat from corners and set pieces. And if you're in the way, woe betide, because he's going to come through you. He's absolutely fantastic. He has a great rapport with the crowd as well, doesn't he? And his celebration was amazing, wasn't it? With his arms out, thanking the crowd like that. It was absolutely. I saw all the pictures afterwards. I think even I ran over as well at one point. It was brilliant. Yeah, I mean, real praise for him. I mean, he's a real leader in this team, and I think Tuesday you needed leaders, and you needed people who were up for a scrap on a cold Tuesday night against a team, who came here for a scrap, and we came out on top. So yeah, let's hope we get another 150 games out of Josh. What a player.
Well, certainly as touching on the celebration, Josh the Redeemer, absolutely fantastic to see. And I joked a while back about, I say joked, I wasn't joking at the time, and I'll own it. I felt Josh had fallen into third place as a centre half behind Adamanson and Drysdale. And you know what? There's nothing better when a player comes out and shows on the pitch why they're third choice to nobody.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll sit here. He's going to watch it. I know he's going to watch it because he wants a pint out of me, and he'll get that pint.
Just one other thing I meant to say. Just going back to the Radcliffe kind of rivalry. I think there's a bit of a dislike from. I was lucky enough to be the reporter for Chester for the season when Jono and Morley were in charge, so I got to know them quite well. I interviewed them twice a week, and I think when they went to Chester, there was a bit of a Chester fans loved Neil Young, and it was always like Neil Young was kind of this figure kind of hanging over them, a bit like Fergie does at every Man United manager that comes in. And I think they were a bit resentful of that. And I think when he went to Marine, I think that they kind of carried that dislike to Marine with him. I think they always want to do one over on Neil Young, because I think he was a bit of a he was a bit of an albatross around their necks when they went to Chester, and he kind of was always there in the background as this is what you got to be like as a Chester manager. So I'm sure that's part of the rivalry that's hit the two teams. A little bit of journalistic inside information there for you.
There's definitely needle between the two clubs, though, isn't there? Every time we play each other, you can feel it. Like, do you know what I mean? But come on.
Well, as you say, we're very similar. We're similar sizes, aren't we? We've been similar journeys. We've always been in the same divisions over the years, haven't we? So yeah, good. I like those rivalries. It makes games for Tuesday night, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it is. It makes it good. It makes it interesting. I say, and touching back to the crowd, the fact that the crowd was being heard from Crosby Beach, and it was alarming the local residents with how loud
Is that
it was.
true? Is that true?
That's true. That's true. They were on Crosby Bubble. Someone thought there was somebody on the beach with a megaphone, and then
This
the
is you.
residents were having a thing. Yeah, it was there was quite a lot of comments saying no, it's Marine FC and it's very loud. So yeah, so well done everyone in the crowd actually from generating that fantastic atmosphere. Just going back to Josh because I want to run the fantastic career Josh has had at Marine. For me, I absolutely love Josh Wardle. I don't care who knows it. I absolutely adore the fella. My little lad came very, very close to being called Joshua. Very, very close to being called Joshua. So yeah, I mean, going back to you, Tim, Josh Wardle, Marine, what will his, he's a living legend, I suppose, as it is now, because that legacy is continuing. Where does Josh Wardle go down in Marine folklore for you?
He's a top player. We know he's a top player. He's strong, great in the air. He's left-footed. Left-footed centre backs are hard to come by. But for me, it's more about his character. You can see what his character is, the leadership that he brings as a captain. So he went to Radcliffe, didn't he, for, however many games it was, 10, 15 games. And I remember him playing for Radcliffe at Marine, and he got dogs abuse. And I think that is a window on his character that he just understands what football's about. He didn't fall out with Marine or Youngie when he left. I don't think he's fallen out with Bernard and Jono when he's come back from Radcliffe and said, I'd like to go back to Marine, please. Been welcomed with open arms. And that's a window on just how level-headed I think the bloke. I mean, I've never had a conversation with him in my life. This is just my perception of him and how he carries himself on the pitch. In terms of where he goes down, Adam, obviously, I was brought up on players who played 4, 5, 6, 7, 900 games, Peter Smith. So to play 150 was pretty normal. But I agree with Jamie that in the modern game, it's not just rare, it's becoming rarer and rarer. People will move clubs for a fiver. You don't get that longevity. I'd love to see him stay now for another 150. I think I put him into my cult hero status. He's definitely that. And if he does another 150 games, maybe he goes. I don't like the word legend being bandied about. Legend for me is Peter Smith, Paul Meechin, John Gawtrey, Kevin O'Brien, people who played 6, 7, 8, 900 games for the club. So a bit of a way to go for some of us who are a bit longer in the tooth. But in terms of the squad that we've got at the moment, he'd be right up there, I think, with Finn. If people had to pick their sort of favourite current Marine player, it'd be them two, wouldn't it? I would have thought. Just proud to have him as the club captain.
Certainly, one of the questions sometimes gets banded around, going to you, Mark, is if the squad was scrapped and you had to start again, who'd you start with? Is Wardle up there as one of the people that you bring in immediately?
Just to concur once again with my learned friend, Mr. McDermott. I am one of those people who was brought up similar to himself on the people that have got Marine legend status or have had it in the past have played, multiple hundred games, including the great Peter Smith. And Josh Wardle, I have to say, it took me a long time to actually forgive him when he came back. But I forgive you, Josh. I forgive you. Especially with the injuries to Drysdale et al. And I think he's sort of come into his own as a real leader. You can see him. He's not bullying, but he's talking people through games constantly. Poor Fraser, he gives a terrible time to, but Fraser will learn from that. It's part of the learning process of being on loan, playing proper football where points, and league position and everything is paramount. So definitely concur with Tim. Legend, current day legend, maybe. But I hope he does get to the point where he plays multiple hundred games for Marine. And going back to your question, Adam, yeah, certainly if we were starting from scratch, that's the kind of person that you would want in straight away. Tuesday night and the celebration after the goal, that will go down, as one of the great celebrations, on a par with Niall in the cup game and stuff. It's one of the great celebrations that we've all seen, at Marine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the noise. I wasn't there, but from the comms, it was absolutely fantastic. Jamie, does Josh epitomise what it is to be a captain for a club like Marine?
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly got those leadership qualities. I mean, he was captain at Wickham, wasn't he, for quite a few years as well. So he's clearly sort of got that. He's got that in him, isn't he? Other managers have spotted that, and I think he's just carried that on at Marine. I agree with what Mark was saying. I think it's really interesting when you see one of the things about non-league, isn't it? You really hear sometimes them talking to each other and saying stuff, and he's always on at people, isn't he? And you can tell the passion he has and the frustration he has when a chance goes begging or a goal goes in, and he thinks it's Marine's fault. And you also see him. What I think what's interesting as well, you see him talk to the referee a lot, don't you? But not like I don't get the idea he's like being particularly disrespectful. He's just always in the referee's ear. He's always, he wants his opinion. He wants to be heard, and he'll make his opinion known. But yeah, I mean, full credit to him. He stood up when we lost a couple of great, really good defenders there, in Drysdale, and for him to come to the fore like that, as you say, when it was looking a bit dodgy, wasn't it, for him in the first team? He's come back and really made that position his own, and his leadership is just crucial at the moment, and I think it's helping us get through these tight games, to be honest, and getting wins like we did on Tuesday.
Absolutely. And Josh, if you're seeing this, I love you. You're my hero. I mean, Josh is unbelievably reliable, as you say. You can always look to him. We're at the point here of the pod where I need to say as well, always reliable as well, is GW Services UK Limited, industrial boiler and maintenance, steam boiler solutions and repairs based in Liverpool. Please visit their website at gwservicesuk.com. I am getting really good at this product placement stuff. We've covered that. Let's keep the aura of joy going. Looking then to the next game, Saturday. Absolutely, what a roller coaster of emotions. Everyone in Walton Vale knew what the score was by the time I was finished listening to the radio commentary. It was South Shields, Marine 2, South Shields 2. We thought we'd won it in injury time. It was stolen with the last kick of the game. Going to you, first of all, Tim. League leaders, and we're all disappointed that we only got a draw out of it. What were your thoughts?
They're a really good side. They did do a lot of sort of sideways and backwards. I think trying to draw us on first half. I thought we were really disciplined. There was a plan for a low block. Don't get drawn in by them. Don't get played through. Goalkeeper stood there still for about 2 minutes. Didn't he? Just the ball at his feet. I don't think he's wasting time. I think he wants us to be indisciplined and to come chasing him for the ball, and we didn't. I think that frustrated them. But they're a good side, and when they did play through the lines, I thought they looked probably the best team I've seen. And then when you consider that at the top of the league, best team I've seen, the first goal, I think he does mean that. I don't think it's a cross. I think he means it. But he should never get that shot off. And when you watch the replay, we've doubled up on him. He should never be able to get that shot off. So that's, I'm sure, a frustration for Bobby and the team. And then to get back into it with some real quality ball into the box from Finn that leads to Anson's goal. And look, we all thought we'd won it, didn't we? Let's just mention young Potter. I think he's got something about him. I can't put my finger on it, but whatever it is, I think he's got it. He's just in the right place at the right time, all the time. He's quick without having sort of searing pace. He's not like a big lad, but he just puts himself about. And he's 16. It's bonkers. So I'm really hopeful for him. He could be a proper player. And I know we're going to talk about the time added on. I have a slightly different view to other people. I've got no problem actually with there being 6 minutes added on in that game. The problem I've got is that that's not consistent all the way through. And it feels like when we're chasing a game, we don't get the minutes added on that we should do. And it feels like when we're ahead of the game, somehow the ball goes up and it's 5, 6, 7 minutes. And I had a look at a tweet I put out because Bobby mentioned the File game and it jogged my memory. And I tweeted something. There was 3 minutes. We were 1-0 down. There's 3 minutes added on in that game. with something like 10 subs, keeper booked for time wasting. There were a couple of water breaks in that game, like huddles and team talks, and he adds 3 minutes on. I don't remember really any massive delays in the South Shield second half, but there's a lot of subs. There's a goal scored. Maybe 6 is probably about right, but you've got to be consistent with it. And to then play to 7.5, again, it's probably the right thing to do, but it's not consistently applied every week. It feels like we've been on the wrong end of one. But Potter's goal deserved to be the winner, didn't it? But football, for me, it's about winning, but it's about, as a supporter, your team creating moments of sort of joy for you. So when that goal goes in and everyone goes bonkers, we've still had that moment, haven't we? Potter has still created that moment. And the last thing with that game that I'd mention is, and Jed Abbey came on, and I came away and I wasn't convinced about what he'd given us when he came on. For a lad who scored 10 goals last year from midfield, then when you watch the replays back, and he's done a lot of defensive work, a lot of physical work, putting his body in. And actually, that goal comes from him putting his body in and then playing a really nice ball out to McDonald. That's where that goal comes from. So maybe he did some stuff off the ball and some sort of physical, some of the dirty work that went a bit unnoticed. And maybe I went away being a bit harsh on him. So just a top team display that, I think deserved 3 points, but they can't take that moment away, can they? That goal from Potter, that will not be the last time he gives us a moment like that.
Absolutely. And Tim, you've made some great points there. Jed Abbey and Potter are two that I'm going to be raising as well throughout this. I do want to ask you, though, because it's prompted a great debate with Potter. As you said there's something about him. It's been spoken about how he's a natural goal scorer. There's an argument that's been had of whether he should be starting or is he more impactful coming off the bench, given his physical nature. He is only 16 years old and he's going against people who are almost twice his size. Does the old saying of if you're good enough, you're old enough come into account here in this situation for Potter?
Well, it does, but I'd still have him at the minute. Let's not forget, if they're all fit and they're available, we've got some really good strikers. So Zanzala, Jolly, Newell, Abbey can play up there. They're all really good players. So I'm not suggesting that we parachute him in and he necessarily becomes first choice number 9 straight away. I'm not necessarily saying that. He's got things to learn, and what a great bank of forwards for him to learn off. He might start at Tamworth, and if he does, I've got no worries about that. He started against Curzon, didn't he? Did a good job. So if he does start, I'm all right with that. But where we're able to, I think, let's go to our experienced players who've got league experience, know the level, physical. Let's let them do that first 70, 80 minutes and bring him on. But I'm not frightened to start him. If it's not one of them where if we did, I'd be thinking, he's not up to this. He is. He's just one of a pool of top strikers that we've got. And for him to be in that pool when he's 16 is a reflection, I think, of the potential that he has.
Thank you very much for that, Tim. Looking there to you, Mark. I mean, we've gone up against South Shields twice now. South Shield supporters have said Marine have been their best opposition that they've played against, which I think is an absolutely fantastic testament to Bobby Grant and his team. Do you think Marine are showing all the signs there against teams like South Shields that there's more in the tank as the season goes on?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't go to the first game of the season, the away game, but I was surprised when they came out onto the pitch on Saturday. I expected, excuse me, Northeast, top of the table. I thought they'd all be absolute giants and real monsters, and actually, I was surprised that they weren't. Again, getting boring this now, but I agree completely with Tim. Probably the best side I've seen this season. They just had that composure in that. Usually you come away from most games and you take notice of the opposition, but it's one or two or three or four players tops. There's no one really that caught the eye. They were all good. The substitutions were good. That being said, yet again, we've come up with a game plan with, again, quite stretched limited resources, and we've gone toe to toe, albeit maybe not in possession stats. They probably did have a lot more of the ball than we did, but the low block worked. We didn't get drawn in. We didn't lose discipline. Again, I agree with Tim. Potter has got something. There's just the style, the way he runs. He's got a swagger about him, but it's not a cocky, arrogant swagger. He's got this way that he seems to, he's got great movements in his hips. He can go past people without being blindly, quick. He knows where the goal is. You can see that. Definitely agree that at the minute, take his chances. He's more at the minute impact, but that will get more. If he carries on, that will get more and more difficult to leave him out. And I think that's the way it should be. But honestly, I said the other week, didn't we? We've got this ability, regardless of who's playing, that we're able to adapt and change and have a plan for particular games, and be able to change mid-game. It wouldn't have been a smash and grab on Saturday if we'd have won, but they were a good side, so that sort of tempered the disappointment of conceding so late on in the game. Again, the consistency with the added on time at all levels of football is it's a joke. It really is an absolute joke. It's getting to the point where you can always say most first half, unless there's a delay for injury or whatever, that it's 1 or 2. And then they come up with some ridiculous amount in the second half, regardless of what really has happened. So yeah, I was quite euphoric on Saturday, despite the ultimate disappointment of conceding so late on. Again, the header from where I was, it didn't seem to be a great deal of people around him. So why he's headed out for a corner, I don't know. Their goal was definitely a shot. I was sort of diagonally behind it, and he looked up and seen the gap. Whether Fraser should have got it, I'm not sure. Just put it down to a good finish. It gave the guy the benefit of the doubt.
Is it a bit harsh, Mucky? Because I know we're going to touch on this now about the header putting it out for the corner. For me, it's always been a case of if in doubt, knock it out. And I had no problem personally with putting it out for the corner. It is what it is, and that's why they're the top of the league. Do you agree to that sentiment, or I believe, Mucky, you have a different perspective to that as well?
Well, I think obviously on the game was all about the game first. I think obviously first half, although they didn't create any much apart from obviously, I'd take your opinion. It was a shot. Obviously did the end. I felt we were in our shape, and defensively we were doing all right, but we weren't really imposing ourselves really in the first half. I think we were just a bit too concerned about what they were doing, kind of thing. And obviously when the goalkeeper's keeping hold of it, bloody God knows how long obviously they're trying to, obviously get out, and didn't have that advantage. But for second half, we were brilliant second half. We think obviously the gaffers got said to them, obviously good defensively, but we're gonna have to impose ourselves on these, because you can't just stand off them because they're really good side, aren't they? So I thought we were brilliant. Obviously Potter's was a great finish. I thought that obviously the goal by Anson's brilliant as well, because I was surprised he was there, really, because obviously Finn's just gone down the wing, hasn't he? And he gambled, hasn't he, really? And he's got the goals. That was brilliant. On their goals, I mean, Whelan's a centre mid, isn't he? So he's not positionally, never really played there, has he? And so it's hard to have a go, isn't it? I get there might have not been many people around him, and he probably should have just maybe seen them out. But I suppose it's difficult, isn't it? Because if he leaves in and someone gets in behind you, he's going to get pelters and that kind of thing. But I felt it was very much like Chorley. We lost the first contact. I hit the bar, and then there's just chaos, isn't it? And we panicking, and everyone's just like throwing legs at it and all that. It was similar to Chorley, wasn't it? The Chorley goal was exactly the same for me. So yeah, as I said, there was this point we didn't win, but I think you got to take the positives, haven't you? I'm not too sure too many teams have done that to South Shields this season. I don't think they have, you know what I mean? But it's one, you just got to take the positives from it. It was a really good performance, and as I think Tim said before, I was worried after Buxton, and you should have took 6, but to take 4 points from Radcliffe and South Shields is a brilliant return, really.
Jed, Abbey, and there's a great point that Tim's just made several moments ago there, Jamie, about Jed Abbey doing a lot of work defensively off the ball, and that was picked up by another person as well who said to me about Jed Abbey seemed to give up a lot of his game in order to cover the area. And it sort of rings true with me on the basis of post-match interview, Bobby Grant saying about McDonald's powerful runs from the midfield. So from your perspective, do you think that it probably was a case of Jed Abbey sacrificing his game to provide defensive cover from the midfield, that knowing that McDonald is there to do the runs?
Yeah, definitely. I think it wasn't just him as well. I mean, I'd like to just highlight. I know we always talk about him in an attacking sense, but Finn as well. He tracked back and worked so hard in that game on Saturday. I don't know if people picked up on it, but he was constantly tracking back, and I think they all worked really really hard. Jed as well. I totally agreed with what you were saying about what Jed was doing off the ball. He was really committed to that. And I think it worked well because I think it actually created some space towards the end of the game, which we took advantage of. I thought I'd go a bit further on South Shields. I thought they were one of the best teams I've seen at our level for a long time. I've not seen a team build up from the back and pass it around like that. I know people will say it's sideways or whatever, but they were keeping possession for a long periods of time and doing it with such confidence and assurance. I thought their captain at the back, was it Tinkler was his name? I think what a player he was. Nothing got past him. And like you say, they weren't giants. He just looked like a normal sized bloke, but nothing got past him. Superb player, I thought. And they were brilliant the way they were stroking us around, really made us work hard. But we found a way to combat that. It was lovely to see because unlike the Premier League, where everyone seems to play the same way now, at non-league, you get these clashes of styles and one can come out best. And we came out best in that second half. Just on Potter, I thought I totally agree with, again, what everyone's saying. I've been really impressed how he's built over this last few months into becoming a player who's really making himself notice. I was thinking about that game. Was it his debut where he missed the chance to get at Curzon Ashton when he blazed it over? I was thinking it's quite a similar chance, wasn't it, on Saturday? And then this time he took his time, gave the keeper the eyes and slotted it in the corner. Absolutely brilliant finish. When you go back a couple of months to when he blazed it over and panicked, very similar chance. You look at that progression he's made, and now he's becoming, this reliable guy we can bring off the bench or start when the guys are cup tied or injured. Yeah, really, really impressed with him. But yeah, Saturday was. I like what you said, Mark, about feeling euphoric. I think even when that goal went in, it almost kind of added to the whole drama and joy of the game in a way. It was like you experienced everything about football in the space of 5 minutes there, wasn't it? The joy and the heartache. It was absolutely an amazing finish. And again, brilliant noise behind the goal. I absolutely loved it. And I think to go toe to toe with a team that played like that and with our own style and by working so hard off the ball, I thought it was amazing. Just one other, I know we're in a bit of a rush, but just one other thing I wanted to touch on was what is Bobby saying to them at half time? Because they seem to come out in the second half a different team, don't they? They seem to
different team. Yeah.
They seem to come out the second half absolutely all guns blazing, which is brilliant. But you kind of wonder, can we do that at the first half as well? Because if we can if we can play like that for 90 minutes, we're going to win more games. They seem to come out second half a different team. I mean, I'd love to know what Bobby's saying. Well, maybe I wouldn't want to know what Bobby's saying.
Not just his team talk, Jamie. We used to give Youngie a lot of credit about like tactical masterclasses and stuff.
Yeah.
Think about the two games we've spoken about.
Yeah.
Radcliffe, he doesn't play a 4-3-3. He plays Finn in behind two strikers in a diamond midfield, sort of 4-4-2. Half time, or just after half time, I thought Finn and Abbey were just dropped back a little bit into like a 4-4-2, and McDonald went right up front alongside Zanzala. These are tactical tweaks that Bobby's making. So you're right. He obviously is giving him,
I'm
at half time, but tactically
right.
Spot on as well.
I'm probably not giving him enough credit there because obviously I was alluding to the kind of hairdryer treatment, but you're completely right. He's seeing the way games are going and making these changes, and the players are responding. And that's a joy to see, isn't it? When players can change to fit the manager's instructions that quick and change the game, because that's what it's done in the last couple of games. It really bodes well.
That's it. And Jamie, I appreciate your press for time as well. I'll keep on you because I do have a question I want to ask you. Going into the game tomorrow night against Chester. Chester, of course, are in a bit of a bad place at the moment. They're in a bad run, and there's a lot of ill feeling at the club as well. A lot of pressure on the manager right now. A Marine tomorrow going into this game as the favourites.
Yeah, I think so. As you say, we got the better of them really at their ground. We should have won that game. That was a really close game. They've had their issues in recent games. Callum, really good young manager. I know Callum a bit, and I hope he gets through this in a way. Not at our expense tomorrow night, but I think he's done a great job there. Good young manager. Obviously got them in the playoffs, didn't he? But yeah, I think we are, and it's a measure of this season that we're going into games against the likes of Chester as favourites now. I think this is a massive game, bigger game for Chester probably than it is for us. I think, the way we are now, if we'd looked at this block of 3 home games, if we'd come out of it with 4 points, we would have been happy. I don't know, maybe. I think, but the fact that we've already got 4 points, and anything else now for me is a bit of a bonus. If we get the win, 7 points from these 3 games is fantastic. But yeah, Chester are really under pressure now, aren't they?
Certainly are. Tim, same question to you. Is this a rare occasion that Marine are the favourites? And as James just pointed out, we were so close to taking all 3 points there at the Diva earlier on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, that was another last-minute equaliser, wasn't it? Are we favourites? I don't know if we are favourites in my mind. I think it's an even one. Chester are struggling to match expectation against reality, but they're only just behind us. They're only a handful of points outside the playoffs. If they went on and won the next 3, they'd be in the playoffs. And you look at their squad, that they're still really tough opponents. But they are, you would think, fragile. And if we can get at them and put them under that pressure, their fans, they don't react well. If they went behind, I think they'd be on the back. There's lots of angles to it. I agree with Jamie. I think it's a bigger game for them than it is for us. We've got a big game coming up at the weekend, but we know that we've got at least a couple of players who are cup tied for that, who we can play in the league game. We don't need to think about the weekend. That it's not in our nature to think about the weekend. But I think it's too tight to call. If you offered me a point right now, would I take it? A week ago, I probably would have done. But now, again, I agree with Jamie. I think it is a bit of a free hit for us. Let's just go and play the game. If we won, it wouldn't surprise me at all. If Chester actually turned it on and produced what they're capable of, then they could, they could turn us over as well. And we've got a small squad. We're going to be missing. Jolly's gone off. Brown, his groin injury, the way he went off, looked a proper groin pull, not something minor. I think we're down to 2 defenders, fit defenders in the squad. You could have Whelan at one full back and Thomas at the other, playing, a right winger playing left back. I'll take whatever we get out of it, and I won't worry about it. Just one to look forward to. Be a good crowd, and we'll have a right go. I've no doubt.
Mark, going to you as well. As Tim just pointed out there about the side that we can play, we don't have to really worry too much about the weekend. We never really have been a club that worries 2 games in advance. We're going to look ahead tomorrow. Is it a free hit from your perspective?
I actually think it's a great time to be alive. When we're split on whether or not we're favourites against Chester or slight underdogs, who'd have thought that? Isn't it fabulous?
Yeah.
Not sure, like free hits. I'm not a great lover of that free hits. Let's keep the momentum going. Let's get the crowd up for it. Let's get at them from the first minute tomorrow. Let's not wait for our usual second half sort of master performance, because if they get a foothold tomorrow, they will have a few there tomorrow. If we can get at them and score or get on top or whatever, they'll turn because they're quite caustic, aren't they? They can be. You only have to look at some of the social media stuff that some of them put out. So let's not wait. Let's not give them that opportunity tomorrow. Let's get right at them, build on the momentum, from the last two games. Again, another Tuesday night. Let's make it sound like there's more people on the beach with more than one megaphone or whatever it was. Bless Crosby bubble. Let's really get at them. And as I say, what a marvelous time to be alive and be a Marine fan.
Okay, I'm going to go to you. Last question of the night. We've seen tonight Bobby Jones returns to the MTA tomorrow. He's just signed with Chester. I believe it's on loan. What reception can Bobby Jones expect on his return, and what are your thoughts coming into the Chester game?
Yeah, I think he'll get a good reception until the game starts. Because he, as we all know, he does like to play to the crowd, and he catches the ball, he goes down very slowly and does stuff like that. No, but he's a great goal. He's a great goalkeeper, really, and he's pivotal in obviously the promotion season. On the game, I don't know. Obviously it's going to be a close game. I don't want to really disrespect Chester because you gotta feel like they're going to have a reaction. There's no way they lose 3-0 Peterborough and then they're just going to come here and just lie down. Do you know what I mean? But I do agree with the rest of you that we do need to put on them because they are fragile, aren't they? And as we said about the supporters, if they have a bad start, they will turn on them. Do you know what I mean? And but it's just as we said, if you'd said 5 years ago we'd be ahead of Chester in the league and going in as favourites, and I think everyone would have said you're nuts, basically. Do you know what I mean? So it's incredible, really, that we're competing with the likes of Chester. Against how good South Shields are, and I think we've been competitive. Apart from the odd game or two, that we've been beat heavily. I think most games we have been competitive. So I think they'll be a lot more worried about us than we are worried about them. To be honest, tomorrow night.
Absolutely. We're going to finish up there, gentlemen. I want to thank you all very much. Thank you very much, Jamie, Tim, Mark, and Mucky, for joining us tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic. I hope you've watched it, have enjoyed it, and I hope you, if you have different opinions, please express them to us. Across the social media platforms, we are on Instagram, Facebook, X. Keep an eye out as well. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, please remember to like, share, subscribe, because you do help us out massively when you do. We've got more guests coming up. We've got more of this content coming up. We're going to try and get content in looking ahead to Tamworth after tomorrow's night, and we'll review Chester. We've got so much coming up. We've got some exciting guests as well. You'll see that coming up in the near future. As always, as well, thank you to GW Services UK Limited. Industrial boiler maintenance. Sorry. Thank you very much for sponsoring the video. I hope everyone who has watched it has enjoyed it, and please let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all at Chester tomorrow.